Work on the Cincinnati streetcar starts back up as rails are delivered for the next segment of the project. Good evening, everyone. 3 weeks ago, it barely had a pulse, but today, the Cincinnati streetcar is full speed ahead, or at least as speedy as a track installation crew can go.
2 truckloads of rails were brought in this afternoon, needed to resume construction on the project, which was almost killed and then brought back to life. Local 12 News reporter Jeff Hirsh joins us along the streetcar line with what happens next. Hi, Jeff.
Well, good evening from Elm Street, and the tracks behind me right there, those rails are some of the ones that were brought in this afternoon. Each rail is 80 feet long and weighs 1.5 tons. They're pretty big, but it won't be long before these rails here are not on the street, but rather in it. For streetcar supporters, the nightmare on Elm Street, the possibility the project would die, is over. The streetcar lives. Rails to restart construction were brought in today.
The crews are pretty excited because it's a major project in their hometown and it will be around for a long time, so it's a point of pride that they've worked on the streetcar. So they're excited about being back on it.
Of course, these rails are almost going back to the factory. Mayor John Cranley wanted to kill the streetcar, putting construction on hold for nearly a month, but City Council brought the project back after a study showing the cost of shutting down was about the same as the cost of continuing. The 3.6-mile loop will ultimately connect the banks downtown and Over-The-Rhine, although only about half a mile of the track is in so far. Now, right here will be the end of the line in a sense that the track is going to come up to here. It's going to loop around. This is Henry Street. It'll loop around over there. It'll go over to Race Street, which is the next major block right over there, and then it'll head back towards downtown, and they'll start excavation on Race Street in mid-January. Over-the-Rhine construction is actually the easy part. The downtown will be slower going.
A lot of it is special track work. Doing the work on 2nd Street, which is a bridge, will take a long time. We're currently on schedule to be completed in September of 2016.
And the rails are not just off the rack, right?
They actually, the straight rail are off the rack. The curved rail are a specialty fabricated rail that takes a long lead time to get done, up to a year.
Streetcar advocates say the line will spur economic development with stores, restaurants, and apartments going in along the tracks.
I am so impressed with this unloading and the whole streetcar concept itself. It's such a boost to Cincinnati. So many other cities have good systems.
You could say for streetcar backers, this was Christmas a day late. Only instead of getting an electric train which goes around the tree, this one will go for 3.6 miles. Actually, the streetcar was supposed to go further. The original plan was to send it up the hill to Uptown near UC, but Governor John Kasich pulled $50 million from the project, and that took care of that. Although the Uptown extension is still part of the long-term plan for the streetcar. The current plan, the current project rather, from here down to the banks, is projected at $133 million. Live on Elm Street, Jeff Hirsh, Local 12 News. Back to you.
Okay, Jeff, thank you. And the streetcar project was saved when the Haile Foundation, along with some other private donors, agreed to pay $9 million to help offset operating costs for the next decade.